The sun had barely crested the horizon when the thunderous knock rattled Jack's front door. Jolting upright in bed, he gripped the sheets as his heart raced. Beside him, his wife Lily stirred with a panicked gasp. "What's happening?" she whispered, eyes wide with fear. Another series of aggressive pounds shook the doorframe. "Open up. This is the HOA president. We need to talk to you immediately." Jack threw on a robe and hurried to the front entrance, his jaw clenched with a mix of confusion and dread. Wrenching open the door, he found the imposing figure of Mrs. Peterson, the neighborhood's perpetually disgruntled HOA president, flanked by two uniformed security guards. "What is the meaning of this?" Jack demanded, his voice edged with defiance. Mrs. Peterson's thin lips pressed into a tight line. "Mr. Baxter, we've received numerous complaints about that display of yours." She gestured dismissively toward the flagpole in Jack's front yard, where the stars and stripes whipped proudly in the morning breeze. Jack felt the blood drain from his face. "You can't be serious." "I'm afraid I am." Mrs. Peterson's eyes narrowed. "The HOA bylaws clearly state that no flags or external displays are permitted without express written approval. That monstrosity in your yard is in direct violation." Lily appeared at Jack's side, her robe hastily tied. "But this is an American flag. It's a symbol of our country. You can't just ban it." The HOA president's lips curled with disdain. "I'm afraid I can, and I will. You have 24 hours to remove that flag, or we'll be forced to take further action." Jack clenched his fists, every muscle in his body tense with outrage. "You can't do this. The flag represents everything this country stands for: freedom, justice, sacrifice. I won't take it down, not for you or anyone else." Mrs. Peterson's brow furrowed, her expression hardening. "Then you leave us no choice." She turned to the guards and nodded. "Gentlemen, begin the process. If he refuses to comply, arrest him for trespassing." The guards stepped forward, their hands hovering near their belts. Jack's mind raced, his palms sweating as he stared them down. Lily gripped his arm, her nails digging into his skin. "Jack, please," she pleaded in a hushed tone. "Don't do anything rash. We can fight this, but not like this." Jack's gaze flickered from the guards to his wife's fearful face, then back to the flag fluttering proudly above. His jaw set with determination. "I'm not taking it down," he declared, his voice unwavering. "This is my home, and that flag is mine to display. You'll have to go through me first." Mrs. Peterson's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a malicious grin. "So be it." The guards advanced, their hands closing around their batons. Jack braced himself, his heart pounding in his ears. This was a battle he couldn't afford to lose. The guards moved in, their faces set with grim determination. Jack's muscles tensed, ready to defend his home and the American flag that represented all he held dear. Lily gripped his arm, her eyes pleading. "Jack, please, don't do this. Let's find another way." But Jack's jaw was set, his gaze unwavering. "I won't back down, Lily. This flag means everything to me, and I won't let them take it down without a fight." The guards were closing in, their hands reaching for their batons. Jack knew he had to act fast. As the first guard lunged, Jack sidestepped and landed a solid blow to the man's midsection, sending him reeling. The second guard paused, momentarily stunned by Jack's unexpected resistance. Seizing the opportunity, Jack turned and sprinted toward the flagpole, determined to protect his beloved banner. Lily watched in horror as the confrontation unfolded. "Jack, stop," she cried, her voice trembling with fear. But Jack was already scaling the pole, his fingers gripping the smooth metal as he hoisted himself up. The flag fluttered defiantly above, a symbol of his refusal to surrender. Mrs. Peterson's face twisted with rage. "Get him down from there, now." She barked at the guards. The guards sprang into action, converging on the flagpole. One of them grabbed a ladder, propping it against a structure as the other climbed up, his baton raised menacingly. Jack braced himself, his heart pounding in his chest. He refused to back down, even as the guard reached for him, his fingers clawing at Jack's legs. Suddenly, a loud engine roared to life, and a cloud of dust billowed up the driveway. A massive pickup truck came barreling into view, its horn blaring defiantly. The guard on a ladder hesitated, confusion etched on his face. Lily, too, turned to see the approaching vehicle, her eyes widening with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The truck screeched to a halt, and the driver's side door flew open. A tall, burly figure emerged, his face set with a determined scowl. "What the hell is going on here?" the newcomer growled, his voice low and gruff. Mrs. Peterson's eyes narrowed as she recognized the man. "Mr. Grayson, this is none of your concern. We're simply enforcing the HOA bylaws." The man, Mr. Grayson, strode forward, his gaze fixed on the flag. "The hell you are," he said, his voice thick with anger. "That flag represents everything I've fought for, and I'll be damned if I let you take it down." As Mr. Grayson advanced, Lily felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps, with his help, Jack wouldn't have to face the consequences of his defiance alone. Mr. Grayson stood his ground, his imposing figure blocking the guard's access to the flagpole where Jack clung defiantly. His gruff voice cut through the tense silence. "You're not touching that flag, not on my watch. This is America, and we have a right to fly our colors with pride." Mrs. Peterson's lips thinned into a disapproving line. "Mr. Grayson, this is an HOA matter. The flag is in violation of our bylaws, and we're simply enforcing the rules." "Rules?" Mr. Grayson scoffed, his eyes narrowing. "Since when do a bunch of HOA busybodies get to tell a man he can't fly the American flag on his own property?" The guards hesitated, their hands dropping to their sides as they exchanged uncertain glances. Lily felt a surge of hope, sensing the tide was turning in their favor. "Mr. Grayson, I must insist you step aside," Mrs. Peterson demanded, her voice dripping with irritation. "This is a private matter, and we won't tolerate any interference." But Mr. Grayson refused to budge, his broad shoulders squared as he stared down the HOA president. "This isn't a private matter, ma'am. It's a matter of patriotism, of respecting the sacrifices that were made to protect the freedoms we all enjoy." Lily watched as the older man's gaze drifted up to where Jack clung to the flagpole, his face etched with determination. "You see that flag up there?" Mr. Grayson continued, his voice wavering with emotion. "That's the same flag I fought under in Vietnam. I'll be damned if I let anyone, even your precious HOA, take it down." Mrs. Peterson's eyes widened, her composure slipping as she realized the gravity of the situation. Lily could sense the shift in the atmosphere, the growing unease among the guards as they stood silent, unsure of how to proceed. Seizing the moment, Lily stepped forward, her voice wavering but firm. "Please, Mrs. Peterson, you have to understand. This flag means everything to my husband and to all of us who have served this country. It's a symbol of our freedom, our sacrifice, and our pride. Surely you can make an exception, just this once." The HOA president's gaze darted between Lily and Mr. Grayson, her brow furrowed in a tense deliberation. Lily held her breath, praying that the woman's sense of reason would prevail. Finally, Mrs. Peterson let out a frustrated sigh. "Very well," she conceded, her shoulders slumping with reluctant defeat. "We'll make an exception, but only this one time, do you understand?" Lily felt a wave of relief wash over her, and she glanced up at Jack, who was now looking down with a triumphant grin. The battle had been won, but Lily knew the war was far from over. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the tension in the neighborhood gradually dissipated. Jack had finally descended from the flagpole, his face flushed with a mix of exhilaration and exhaustion. Lily embraced him tightly, her eyes shining with relief. "I can't believe we actually won," she whispered, her voice trembling. I was so worried they'd take you away." Jack chuckled, giving her a reassuring squeeze. "They wouldn't have taken me anywhere, not with Mr. Grayson here to back us up." The burly veteran stood nearby, his arms crossed over his chest as he surveyed the scene. Lily approached him, her expression filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Mr. Grayson," she said, her voice sincere. "We can't tell you how much your support means to us." Mr. Grayson shrugged, a gruff smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Ah, don't mention it, ma'am. That flag up there represents everything I've fought for, and I'll be damned if I let some stuck-up HOA president take it down." Lily nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Well, we're forever in your debt, if there's anything we can ever do to repay you." Mr. Grayson waved a dismissive hand. "Just keep that flag flying high. That's all the thanks I need." Jack approached, his hand extended. "I don't know how to thank you, sir. You stepped up when we needed you most, and I'll never forget it." The two men shook hands, their grip firm and their eyes locked in a silent exchange of mutual respect. As the confrontation faded into memory, Lily couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. She knew that Mrs. Peterson and the HOA were not the type to let this incident go without retribution. "Jack, do you really think they're going to leave us alone now?" she asked, her brow furrowed with concern. Jack's expression darkened. "I doubt it. Mrs. Peterson looked like she was ready to send in the National Guard to take down that flag. But we've got Mr. Grayson on our side, and I'm not backing down, no matter what they throw at us." Lily's gaze drifted to the fluttering banner, the stars and stripes a testament to the strength and resilience of the American spirit. She knew that the battle had only just begun, but with Jack and their newfound ally, she felt a glimmer of hope. As the day wore on, the neighborhood remained quiet, save for the occasional glares and hushed whispers from the HOA members. But Jack and Lily stood firm, their flag flying proudly above their home, a defiant symbol of their refusal to surrender. Little did they know, the war was about to escalate in ways they could never have imagined. The following days saw a tense standoff between the Baxters and the HOA. While Mrs. Peterson and her associates had reluctantly backed down from their initial confrontation, it was clear that they were far from finished. Subtle acts of retaliation began to surface. Petty complaints about the Baxters' landscaping, mysterious accidents that damaged their property, and even veiled threats from other HOA members. Lily watched with growing unease as the situation spiraled, her nerves frayed by the constant tension. Jack, however, remained resolute. He refused to back down, his defiant flag fluttering in the breeze as a constant reminder of his refusal to surrender. Whenever Lily voiced her concerns, he would simply squeeze her hand and assure her that they had right on their side. Then, one morning, the Baxters awoke to find their beloved flag in tatters, the pole lying haphazardly on the lawn. Lily's heart sank as she took in the scene, tears welling in her eyes. "Jack, they've done it," she whispered, her voice laced with devastation. "They've destroyed our flag." Jack's expression hardened, his jaw clenching with barely contained fury. "Those bastards," he growled, already striding toward the front door. Lily rushed to his side, gripping his arm. "Jack, wait. Where are you going?" "To the HOA meeting," he declared, his eyes burning with determination. "I'm going to put an end to this once and for all." Lily hesitated, her mind racing with the possible consequences of Jack's actions. "But Jack, they've already shown they're willing to go to extremes. What if they try to?" "I don't care," Jack interrupted, his voice firm. "This is our home, Lily, and that flag is a part of who we are. I won't let them take it from us without a fight." With a resolute nod, Jack pulled open the door and stormed out, leaving Lily to watch helplessly as he marched down the street, his every step fueled by righteous indignation. As Jack approached the community center, he could feel the eyes of his neighbors boring into him, a mix of sympathy and trepidation etched on their faces. Ignoring their stares, he flung open the doors and strode into the crowded meeting room, his presence immediately commanding the attention of the assembled HOA members. Mrs. Peterson, seated at the head of the table, looked up with a forced smile. "Ah, Mr. Baxter, we weren't expecting you." Jack's gaze narrowed as he fixed the HOA president with a withering stare. "Cut the crap, Peterson. You and your goons destroyed my flag, and I want to know why." The room fell silent, the tension palpable as all eyes turned to the confrontation unfolding before them. Mrs. Peterson's smile faltered, her composure slipping as she struggled to maintain her veneer of authority. "I assure you, Mr. Baxter, the HOA had nothing to do with the unfortunate incident involving your flag," she said, her words dripping with feigned innocence. Jack's lips curled into a humorless smile. "Don't insult my intelligence, Peterson. I know it was you, and I'm not leaving until you admit it and make things right." The HOA president's eyes narrowed as she regarded Jack with a mixture of disdain and thinly veiled panic. It was clear that he had struck a nerve, and the other members of the HOA were beginning to shift uncomfortably in their seats. Jack knew that he had them on the ropes, but he also knew that the stakes had never been higher. This was a battle he couldn't afford to lose. The tense silence in the HOA meeting room was palpable as Jack Baxter stared down the unrelenting gaze of Mrs. Peterson, the HOA president. The shredded remnants of his beloved American flag lay outside, a testament to the lengths the HOA was willing to go to enforce their misguided bylaws. Jack's jaw was set, his eyes blazing with a determined fury. "I know it was you, Peterson. Now, I want you to admit it and make this right." Mrs. Peterson's thin lips pressed into a tight line as she regarded Jack, her composure cracking under the weight of his unwavering accusation. The other HOA members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, the tension in the room palpable. "I assure you, Mr. Baxter, the HOA had nothing to do with the unfortunate incident involving your flag," she replied, her voice dripping with forced calm. Jack scoffed, his contempt for the woman's blatant lies evident. "Don't insult my intelligence. You and your cronies destroyed my flag, and I want it replaced. Immediately." Mrs. Peterson's eyes narrowed, her manicured nails tapping against the polished surface of the conference table. "Now, see here, Mr. Baxter. The HOA bylaws clearly state that any external displays, including flags, must be approved by the board. Your flag was in violation, and we had no choice but to take action." Jack's hands clenched into fists at his sides, his knuckles turning white with the force of his grip. "You had no right to destroy my property, especially not a symbol as sacred as the American flag. This is my home, and I have every right to fly that flag with pride." The HOA president's lips curled into a disdainful sneer. "Your rights end where the HOA's rules begin, Mr. Baxter. We're a community, and we must all abide by the same standards. Your display was an eyesore, and it had to be removed." Jack felt a surge of rage coursing through his veins. An eyesore. That flag represents the sacrifice of countless men and women who fought and died to protect the freedoms we all enjoy. How dare you call it an eyesore? Mrs. Peterson's expression hardened, her eyes glinting with a twisted sense of triumph. "Perhaps you should have thought of that before flagrantly disregarding the HOA's policies. Now, I suggest you remove any remaining shreds of that flag and comply with our bylaws, or face the consequences." Jack's breath caught in his throat, his mind racing with a desperate need to find a way to salvage the situation. The weight of Lily's trust and the memory of Mr. Grayson's unwavering support fueled his determination. "I won't back down, Peterson. This flag means everything to me and to this country. You can try to take it from me, but I promise you, I will fight you every step of the way." The HOA president's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Very well, Mr. Baxter. Then I'm afraid we have no choice but to escalate this matter. You have been duly warned." Jack felt a chill run down his spine as Mrs. Peterson's words hung in the air, the implications of her threat becoming painfully clear. He knew that he was now facing a battle that would push him to the very limits of his resolve. Jack Baxter left the HOA meeting with a sense of dread weighing heavily on his shoulders. The confrontation with Mrs. Peterson and the other members had only served to harden their resolve, and he knew that they were prepared to go to greater lengths to enforce their misguided policies. As he walked back home, his mind raced with possibilities, each one more unsettling than the last. What could the HOA possibly have in store for him and his family? Would they try to fine him or even take legal action? The thought of losing his home, his sanctuary, was enough to send a shiver down his spine. When he finally reached his front door, he found Lily waiting anxiously, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and determination. "Jack, what happened?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Did you get them to back down?" Jack shook his head, his expression grim. "No, Lily. They're digging in their heels, and I think they're planning something even worse." Lily's face paled, and she gripped his arm, her nails digging into his skin. "Oh God, Jack. What are we going to do?" "I don't know," he admitted, his own uncertainty weighing heavily on him. "But I won't back down, not now. That flag means everything to me, and I'll be damned if I let them take it away." Lily's eyes searched his face, a glimmer of hope igniting within them. "Then what's our plan? We can't just sit here and wait for them to make their move." Jack's jaw tightened, his mind working furiously. "I think it's time we called in some reinforcements." Without another word, he strode to the phone, his fingers dialing a familiar number. Lily watched anxiously, her heart pounding in her chest. After a few rings, a gruff voice answered, "Grayson." "Mr. Grayson, it's Jack Baxter. We need your help." A brief pause, then a low chuckle. "I had a feeling you might be calling. What's the HOA up to now?" Jack quickly recounted the confrontation at the meeting, his voice laced with a mixture of frustration and determination. "They're not going to stop, Mr. Grayson. I need your help to fight back." There was a moment of silence, then a deep sigh. "All right, son. You've got it. Just tell me what you need." Relief flooded through Lily, and she squeezed Jack's hand, a small smile tugging at the corners of her lips. With Mr. Grayson on their side, they might just have a chance. But as the conversation continued, Lily couldn't shake the nagging feeling that the battle was far from over. The HOA was clearly willing to go to extreme lengths to silence them, and she knew that their fight had only just begun. In the days that followed, the Baxters found themselves at the center of a growing storm, as the HOA escalated their efforts to remove the American flag from Jack's property. True to his word, Mr. Grayson had rallied a small but formidable group of fellow veterans, each one eager to stand up for the flag they had sworn to defend. Together, they formed a human barrier around the Baxter home, a defiant show of patriotism that sent a clear message to the HOA. This flag would not be taken down without a fight. Mrs. Peterson, however, refused to back down. She dispatched a team of private security guards to the Baxter residence, instructing them to remove the flag by any means necessary. The confrontation that ensued was nothing short of a full-blown clash, with the veterans engaging in a tense standoff with the heavily armed guards. Lily watched in horror as the two sides faced off, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that the situation had spiraled far beyond her control, and she prayed that cooler heads would prevail. Suddenly, the sound of sirens pierced the air, and a battalion of police cars descended upon the scene. The officers quickly separated the combatants, their voices booming with authority as they de-escalated the situation. Mrs. Peterson, her face flushed with rage, stormed forward, her finger pointed accusingly at Jack. "Arrest that man," she demanded. "He's violated our bylaws and incited a riot." The lead officer, a grizzled veteran himself, eyed the HOA president with disdain. "Ma'am, I'm afraid I can't do that. These gentlemen are well within their rights to peacefully assemble and display the American flag on private property." Mrs. Peterson's eyes widened in disbelief, her lips parting in a sputtering protest. But the HOA bylaws. Ma'am, the Constitution trumped your HOA bylaws. The officer interrupted, his voice firm. As long as these citizens are not breaking any laws, they have every right to fly that flag, and we won't be removing it. Lily watched in awe as the officer's words sank in, a sense of relief washing over her. The HOA's tactics had been thwarted, at least for the moment, and the flag continued to flutter defiantly above their home. Mrs. Peterson, her face a mask of pure fury, stormed off, the defeated security guards trailing behind her. Lily turned to Jack, her eyes shining with pride. "We did it, Jack," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "We won." Jack pulled her into a tight embrace, his own eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Yes, we did, Lily, and we couldn't have done it without the help of our fellow patriots." As the Baxters and their band of veteran allies celebrated their victory, Lily couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude and renewed pride in the country they called home. The American flag, a symbol of freedom and sacrifice, had once again emerged triumphant, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who refused to surrender in the face of adversity. The battle may have been won, but Lily knew that the war was far from over. The HOA would undoubtedly regroup and devise new strategies to challenge their resolve. But as long as they had the unwavering support of their newfound allies, and the unwavering belief in the ideals represented by that beloved flag, the Baxters were prepared to stand their ground, no matter the cost.